Welcome to the channel. If you've watched a few videos around here, you probably know that I'm something of a fan of the Lenovo Legion Go, which is a huge PC handheld for gaming. And one of the gimmicks of the Legion Go is that the controllers are detachable, and there's a thing called FPS mode where the right controller here will function as a mouse, and you hold the left controller for movement and so forth. But there is one other significant system that has detachable controllers out there, and that's the Nintendo Switch. And of course, these controllers here aren't necessarily as neat as the ones that the Go comes with. There's no way to make this into a mouse, and frankly, I just don't really get much joy in using these not attached to the system. But one thing they actually did send with the Switch is this, which is a device that allows you to essentially make a controller out of the Joy-Cons. And all you have to do is just slide them in like this, and you have a controller. Not the best controller in the world, but certainly if you're traveling with a Nintendo Switch and you want to prop up the Switch with its little, in the case of the Switch anyway, flimsy little kickstand, you can at least have a more or less controller-like experience using this. And this came with the device. And the Legion Go comes with a little plastic adapter to use the right controller as a mouse that just fits into there so the sensor is flat on the ground. But it doesn't come with anything to kind of make a controller like the Nintendo Switch does, which kind of makes it, if you're not going to use FPS mode, of course you can take the controls off here, prop up your Legion with the kind of substantial stand here, but then you're stuck with kind of holding these things in your hands, and whether that's an experience you want to have. I mean, sometimes you might just feel like, I want to hold a controller rather than holding these two like half controllers and trying to play around like that. And Lenovo doesn't ship the Legion Go with something similar. So I was reading through some of the comments to one of my Legion Go posts, and people were saying, oh yeah, the weight of the Legion Go is an issue, and I bought a Gibitlee Controller Connector so I can take the controller off to use it. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. So thanks to LightGas522 here, I went to Amazon, and I was like, okay, that sounds like it comes from Amazon. So here it is. This was $14.98 now. I think I got it slightly cheaper than that, but ordered it a bit ago, and it's like, okay, it's a little plastic piece here that hopefully will kind of try to recreate this. So we'll see how it does. It arrived. So as you can see, I have not opened this. So we are going to take a first look at this controller connector here, and we're going to try to see how it does. So is it worth the currently roughly $15 that this is going to cost? Now, let's unbox this thing. So here's my Legion Go. I kind of need both hands, so I'll stick it over there somewhere. So I've got the controllers. I've taken them off the system. Let's see how this does. So this is my first time opening this as well. So let's see what we get. Okay, so in the box, some joystick toppers if you're into that sort of thing. I usually don't use them myself, but if you want a kind of rougher grip on the top of the Legion Go sticks, these might be a thing that you might use. So I'm going to set these aside. What else we got? I'm assuming that goes here. So a little fiber cover for trackpad. Probably not going to use that either. So I just kind of throw it over there. Here's what we're after, though. The adapter itself. Now, there's no directions or anything in here, but on the listing, they said, oh, if you're having trouble getting these things to connect, the part that points up is supposed to be the top. And it's actually pretty subtle here now that I look at it. So if I looked at this, if you look at it on the camera, you can kind of see that this goes down. And on the other side, now you're going up. So it looks like kind of a somewhat of a reproduction here of the connector on the side. Kind of see here. Here's the actual connector. Here's this. So we're going to see how this goes. So I'm going to put the right controller on here. Snaps on. Okay, the button snapped here, so it looks like it's going to stay. Left controller. I've never done this before, so actually it wasn't that hard to do. So we have a controller. So compared to the Switch, Switch has some kind of ergonomic handles down here. This one here, it uses the controller itself, kind of the controllers themselves as the ergonomic handles, and just gives you a little bit of a space for your hands here. Seems to be on there pretty good. Maybe not quite as good as the like metal rail setup that you have going on here on the Switch, but not too bad for a little piece of plastic. This would be something that I think would be handy to throw in a travel bag if you're taking your Go somewhere, you know, going somewhere over Christmas holiday, and you just want, hey, I want kind of a controller-like experience, but I don't want to pack an actual controller. So far, I mean, I'm going to play some games with it later on, see how it goes, but so far I can sit my tablet somewhere and have a, quote, controller without having to actually use a significant amount more bag space, because this little plastic piece is actually pretty small and relatively flat, so tossing this in a bag shouldn't be a problem. Now, let's see if we can take it back apart again. So I'm going to hit the button. It comes right out. So it doesn't seem to be too difficult to take apart. See if I can put it together quicker the second time. That's easy enough. So far so good with this Gibitlee Controller Connector. And let me put the controllers back on the Go. So good as new here. So it comes with a few little accessories if you want to deck out your Go with this sort of thing. But this, so far, so good. Now, how long will this last? Don't know. The one for the Switch is made pretty solid, so it's lasted for a while. This is just plastic, but for what it is, it'll probably work for a while. I mean, if you normally play your Go handheld like I do, you don't need this very often, but I can see this coming in handy if you're like, oh, I just don't feel like holding the Go today, it's heavy, let's make a controller out of it without having to sacrifice a lot of space. So that's it for this video on the controller connector to make your Legion Go act a little bit more like a Switch. If you enjoy the video, leave a like. If you'd like to see more content, subscribe to the channel. And I hope to see you next video.